In this video, we are going to explore something most people never truly understand: the silence between your thoughts. Because your new reality doesn't begin with action, it begins in that silence. Welcome to Mind Universe. Most people are not afraid of being alone. They are afraid of being alone with their own mind. Because when everything becomes silent, something unexpected begins to happen. Your thoughts don't disappear. They become louder, clearer, more present. And suddenly, you realize something uncomfortable. Your mind is not as calm as you believed. It has just been distracted. Distracted for so long, that you started calling distraction peace. We live in a world where silence almost doesn't exist anymore. There's always something playing. A video, a conversation, music, noise, even when nothing is happening outside. Something is happening inside your mind. You scroll, you watch, you consume, and slowly, without realizing it, your mind becomes full. Not full of clarity, but full of noise. Noise that feels like thinking. Noise that feels like activity, but in reality, it is just constant input. And when the mind is constantly receiving, it never gets the chance to understand. Most people think their mind is busy because life is complicated, but that's not the truth. Your mind feels busy because it never gets space. It jumps from one thought to another, from one idea to another, from one distraction to another. And over time, this becomes your normal state. You forget what stillness feels like. You forget what clarity feels like. You forget what silence actually is. Now imagine removing everything. No phone, no music, no conversation, no stimulation, just you and your mind. At first, nothing happens. It feels calm, it feels empty, but then, slowly, something begins to rise. A thought, then another, then many. They don't stop. They start flowing faster, stronger, more intense. Old memories appear, things you forgot, suddenly feel real again. Moments you ignored come back into your awareness, and your mind becomes louder than it has ever been. This is the moment most people run away, because it feels uncomfortable. It feels overwhelming. It feels like something is wrong, but nothing is wrong. For the first time, you're actually seeing your mind, without filters, without distraction, without escape. And that truth feels heavy. So what do most people do? They reach for their phone, they open something, they distract themselves again. Because distraction feels easier than awareness. Noise feels safer than silence. Movement feels better than stillness. But here is something important. Not every thought you have is true, and not every thought belongs to you. Many thoughts are borrowed. They come from what you watch, from what you hear, from what you repeatedly expose yourself to. And over time, they become part of your thinking. You stop questioning them. You start believing them. And slowly, they shape your reality, your fears, your doubts, your insecurities. Many of them are not original. They are learned. They are repeated. They are reinforced through constant exposure. And because you never pause, you never notice this. But the moment you stop, the moment you sit in silence, you begin to observe. And observation changes everything. Because when you observe your thoughts, you create distance from them. You stop reacting immediately. You stop believing everything you think. And slowly, you begin to see clearly. You notice something simple. Thoughts come and thoughts go. They appear and they disappear. And yet, you remain unchanged, present, aware. This is where something deeper begins. Between every thought, there's a small gap, a space, a moment of silence. At first, it is almost invisible because your mind is moving too fast. But if you slow down, if you observe carefully, if you stop reacting, you begin to notice it. A tiny pause, a moment where nothing is happening. No thinking, no noise, no movement, just stillness. That stillness is more powerful than any thought you have. Because in that moment, there is no fear, no anxiety, no confusion, only clarity, pure awareness. Most people spend their entire lives trying to control their thoughts, trying to think better, trying to remove negativity, trying to force positivity. But they miss something important. Clarity does not come from controlling thoughts. It comes from observing them. Because when you observe, you stop feeding them. And when you stop feeding them, they lose their power, slowly, naturally, without force. And as your thoughts slow down, that gap begins to expand. The silence becomes longer. The mind becomes lighter. The noise begins to fade, and something new appears. Awareness. This awareness is where your new reality begins. Not in action, not in effort, but in perception. Because your experience of life is not created by what happens. It is created by how your mind interprets it. If your mind is chaotic, everything feels chaotic. If your mind is clear, everything feels lighter. The same life, the same situations, but a completely different experience. This is why some people remain calm in difficult situations, while others feel overwhelmed in simple ones. The difference is not life, the difference is the mind. And when you begin to understand this, you stop trying to control everything outside. You stop chasing constant change. You stop reacting to every situation. And instead, you turn inward, you observe, you become aware. And, slowly, something shifts. You begin to respond instead of react. You begin to choose instead of follow. You begin to understand instead of assume. This is control. Not control over life, but control over your mind. And when you control your mind, your reality begins to change. But here is the truth. Most people will never reach this point. Not because it is difficult, but because it is uncomfortable, because it requires something they avoid every day. Stillness, no stimulation, no distraction, no escape, just awareness, just presence, just you and your mind. And for many people, that feels too much. So they stay busy, they stay distracted, they stay in noise, and they call it normal. But if you can do something simple, if you can sit in silence and observe without reacting, without judging, without escaping, something begins to change. Your thoughts slow down, your mind becomes lighter, your awareness expands, and slowly you begin to see clearly. Because the silence between your thoughts was never empty. It was always where everything begins. Follow for more calm, mind universe.